October 19th. I'm recording this at 6:18 p.m. and welcome to today's after session review. Let's take a look at what the NASDAQ did today. For the most part, since the futures open, we were kind of just dipping down and going in on the smaller time frames, regular trading hours today. We did get this kind of a pop-up right off the open, which faded for the rest of the day up until about 1 o'clock, after which we caught some liquidity and we started to bounce back up again. But why this area? Let's give it a look. If we go back to the hourly, so larger time frame, we can see that this specific level has been very, very strong for quite a few reasons actually. One, it is the June lows area, right? So this level specifically and this level right down here, these two have been very, very strong. We tried to hold it on our way down. We weren't able to do so. It broke right back below. And now we're just above. So bulls are desperately trying to defend this area. And if I pull back, you can actually see it was just around that area that they were trying to defend. But also, we had the 11,000 psych level on the NAS, right? So big levels here. We were desperately trying to defend them. And so far, it was okay. But at the end of the market, we did have earnings. So we had Tesla earnings after market today, and they did beat their EPS numbers, but they struggled to beat their revenue. Now, honestly, it was just a haircut. It wasn't a big difference in revenue numbers, but the market did not like it. Overall, it's just, speaking to even with the way that the inventory is going and the car shortages and everything else, they definitely still expected some good numbers and they weren't able to deliver. So market didn't like it too well, and we're kind of just sitting flat in the NASDAQ. But if we were to go over to Tesla, you can see the market did not like it. So while we did get the initial pop on the EPS, it was positive. The revenue numbers did come lower, and we were starting to dip down. Going back over to the NAS. So let's take a look at what's happening. We are desperately trying to defend those June lows. And if we're able to do so, here it just looks kind of like a flag. If we are able to do so, what I am targeting is this level just up here, right? So that is our early October highs off the initial pop. And this right here, I can see being strong supply, right? If we go back, upper range would be up here, but I don't know if we're going to get it. So if we remember the last time, we saw quite a few pops, and each pop was sold into. And so we're seeing something very similar happen here. We have a pop, sold in, a pop, sold, pop, sold. Now, what we are seeing, however, are still higher highs and higher lows. So the trend hasn't completely broken yet, but we are sitting on that trend line just about now in the larger time frame. If we go down to the smaller time frames, we are actually just peaking right below, so this could be a trend line retest. But what we are expecting is if this level is to hold, we're looking for this guy here. If this level does not hold, we have a lot more room on the way down, right? So if we were to target the downside, I'd be looking initially somewhere around there, and then the next level after that would just be around there. So those two zones are what I would be eyeing, but there's not much volume here, guys. It's going to be very easy if it breaks these levels for it to just, come down just as rapidly as it went up. It's going to be very, very simple. The other thing, let's talk about it, is this M pattern that's showing here, right? So we went up, we tried to break those levels, it was unable to make a new high, and now we're coming right back down. So what does that look like? And how would you play this pattern? Let's take a look. So this right here is your M pattern. Okay? And so if we were to play this pattern, what are we looking for? So if we were to just take the swing and draw a little fib, if we are to break these highs, you can play this breakout right on this area. Okay, that's roughly around 11,325 to about 11,350. If we can break these highs, you have room. Okay, you have room to 11,500, 490 in this case. You can see these fib levels match up perfectly, right? So you'd be looking for this initial area here, and if that breaks, then you have 11,650 or 630 here, which is right within that zone that I'm targeting, right? So this would be the next level that we're looking for. If this were to break on the downside, okay, where are we targeting? So initially, the target is right around these levels, right about here, right? Very, very close to the zone I have drawn out. And the next level is actually for on the fib, right about here. But in this case, I do think it has a bit more room on the way down, and it can go here. And then we really start to test the lows and see if it has more room down. So that's that. That's the end pattern, and that's how you can play that. And that's pretty much it about NAS. Now let's take a look at DXY. Okay, DXY has been climbing for the last couple days. You know, we're still kind of in that downtrend, and we need to break this if it's going to keep going higher. I'm not sure if it's going to do that just yet, but just to show you what that downtrend looks like, we are currently looking at that guy right there. So this is the downtrend. If this were to break and DXY does go higher, expect NAS to fall. Okay, US 10-year, let's take a look. We have been on a steady uptrend, steady uptrend. Now, this was kind of the last little supply area. It was finally able to break through that, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. On the fifth try, it finally gets above. And, you know, with all this consolidation, expect this rally to last. We are sitting at that 4.138 level. Obviously, there is, you know, quite a bit much room for this to go and really just explode. In Canada, at least, they did announce that they're going to increase the next interest rate by 1%. However, in this case, who knows what the U.S. is going to do? I think we're priced in for about 75 bips. We'll see how the market reacts. Next thing, let's take a look at VIX. Okay, VIX has been pulling back. We are on a downtrend. However, we tried to break that on the upside, and we were unable to do so. There is still more room down here, and what I'd be looking for on the VIX is for it to target this demand right down here. Okay, if we can get down here, that gives the NASDAQ enough room. This 30 level is going to be key. Okay, look at this. We broke down below, bought right back up again. Broke down below, bought right back up again. So this 30 level is still going to be key. So going into tomorrow, what I want to see is this 30 level test. And if the 30 level is able to hold, then we should be able to see higher on the VIX. Again, bad news for NASDAQ. All right, ES should be pretty much the same chart, but ES, we're going to be targeting that guy right there. So we're looking at that 3,800 rejection. Let's see that 3,800 before we get the move down, right? Same thing. We're trying to protect those June lows, right? June lows are just down here. So right now, the ES is still above those June lows, and it's trying its absolute best to stay above. All right, so what I'm looking at is I'm still expecting this to rise, get to that 3,800 level before we fall again. And that's basically my analysis. I don't know how long it's going to take. Could be a couple days. We'll see how things go. But the other thing I want to point out is if we were to look at the weekly chart, okay, we had this level bounce significantly. What we're seeing now on the daily is kind of this indecision candle, this doji, and the market just doesn't know what it's going to do. But every upper, push is getting rejected. We aren't seeing the same price action, that we were seeing before. Whereas every time it tried to break through, it's not looking too great. We are consolidating right below those critical areas. So overall, trend is still bearish, and I'm looking to target in the long run. Now we're talking about a weekly chart. In the long run, I'm looking at this area, right? So we're trying to protect this. I want to get to the bottom of that zone. That's going to give us COVID-19 highs, right before this big dip. That's the area that I'm targeting. If this breaks, then the next level really is just about there. We're looking at about low 3000s, and if that breaks, I don't even want to talk about it. It's not going to be looking good. I'm not that bearish. Ideally, I just wanted to see come down to about 3400 before we start to see some consolidation and maybe some room up. So let's see what happens, guys. Till then, deuces.